Good evening. Unless you're in Europe or somewhere along the that side of the world, the other side of the big blue, it would be good morning. How's everybody doing today? It's good to be around and it's good to see you. Well, on my Instagram, I depend fairly little, a bit. I depend a good bit on my friends on Instagram to be able to figure out essentially what it is that that I want to be able to accomplish in this in the next round, in the next session of ZBrushLIVE. This last go around, I submitted a few options of things that I thought were that would be useful and good for advancing this. The suggestion I got most often was going through and doing character posing. It's not something that you can actually read on there. Oh, there we go. Character posing, because I hate doing that. Ha ha ha. How about that? So that's going to be a big deal of the focus for this session of ZBrushLIVE. It's been a good day. It's been a big day. It's been huge and long, and I've gotten a ton done at work and whatever, but I'm tired now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump into this and having fun. Okay. So this torso, set that to there. And I'm going to start off by making sure that my character is nice and... Oh, I thought that was going to work. It didn't work. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to start off by posing posing the character. Okay. So I'm going to try something really quickly. Where is... Okay, there we go. I'm going to try going into Transpose Master, see if I can get this to work the way that I want it to. The nice thing about Transpose Master is it'll only go through and it'll take whatever is visible. Okay. Hey Matthias, how you doing? The first message on chat comes from Matthias on Twitch. Okay, so I noticed, first thing I noticed is that I want to be able to reset my character so that he's back in the at home, essentially. What I could do is I could just come back here. Let's just load tool. Go back into Candyland. Let's get our character out. You know what? Let's do this. Just purely because it could be helpful having the mannequin for scale. I'm gonna come. Pardon me. Let's bring down our visible count. We don't need that many. We're gonna say insert. Oh, sorry. Yep, nope, insert, append. We'll say append. T-pose. Okay. So, now you got all this. Let's transpose the set. And, you know what? Here's what we're going to do first. Let's turn off perspective. We don't need it on yet. Right there. That'll be good. Alright. Turn that back on. Bring this down to home area place right there where the other characters' feet are. Bum Nation. It's a fun name. ¿Cómo estás? Me sorprende tu nivel de español. Pues gracias. No, en verdad, como yo aprendí español en Chile y a mí me fascina el idioma. Quisiera que todo el mundo lo hablara, pero pues no es así. Tampoco lo quiere todo el mundo, así que así que yo soy solo en que nadie me quiere apoyar en ese sueño de mí, en ese sueño mío, pues. All right, cool. So we've got this. I'm gonna turn that off because we don't need it. Let's jump over to torso. Okay, so the big thing for me right now, I really want to establish. Hey Justin, how you doing? First thing I want to establish is the facial pose. Okay. Actually, I think I was sketching them on a piece of paper at work. I didn't sketch them in my sketchbook. But essentially, like this Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi wishes he was that young. But it's okay, Mr. Miyagi could still kick this guy's butt, I'm sure. Yeah, so one of the things I like to do when I'm posing a character is I like to pose the face first, and then I pose the rest of the body. And sometimes I'll even keep the head stationary and move the body around it. And it's kind of a big thing, but the thing that I really enjoy about doing it like that is being able to keep the symmetry with the face as long as I need it. It just really makes everything super easy. So let's open this up. Let's start by let's expand our list a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. Facial hair. So why do I have these extra pieces that are? I'm interested in why I have extra pieces showing. Facial hair. There we go. We'll worry about posing the facial hair separate. Okay. So, what's nice about this is I have polygroups established, so that'll allow me to Hey Sammy, how you doing? Stick in hobo sack. Ay. Chistoso tú. Okay. So what's cool is I have subdivision levels on this guy. Okay. So this makes it a lot easier for me to go through and pose. So what I want to do, everything, like really like the main areas that I'll be changing. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Let me show you. The main areas I'll be changing involve this area right here to be able to get those jowls and the cheeks to kind of work right. Obviously, I'll be having to modify the eyes a little bit. The bags under the eyes will need to get modified and kind of puffed up a little bit, because as you squint, or as you close your eyes and make your eyes really squinty like that, your skin's kind of pushing up on itself, and your eyes are kind of bunching down, and everything's just kind of compressing. And so this is kind of an area where things are starting to kind of bunch up. What's interesting is that the skin under your eyes, right there underneath those bags of the eyes, it's pretty attached to the bone, to the that orbital arc, or I can't remember exactly what it's called, but the orbit of the eye. So because of that, as we get older, those bags become more pronounced and they start to sag, and that's why you get kind of a little bit of a crease underneath those bags on older people, which is why I have a little bit of a crease right here. So yeah, and then we'll have the brows that we'll have to modify too, but yeah, we'll worry about that as we get there. I'm going to start first by getting this mouth into the position that I want. I'm pretty sure I already have the teeth in there, and we'll see, you know, as we pose this guy, if those teeth are going to be what we want or not. But your mom says you're funny. I'm so glad. Okay, so the nice thing about having these polygroups is it allowed you to make quick selections. Okay, so I just I had my move tool, I hit control, and then I clicked on that polygroup. Now with just a regular brush, I can just hold control and just tap on my mesh. Okay. Now I want to mask out this center loop. I don't want that loop moving at all. So I'm going to control, click, and drag, make my rectangle, hold spacebar, and drag it over. I want to make absolutely sure that that center line does not move. Because what I'm going to do, and actually, maybe what I'll do, instead of doing it like that, let's do it like this. I'm going to mask that corner, and then do that, and then come up and remask my center line. Okay, so this is an old trick that I use when I'm posing a character in Maya, and it works fairly well inside of ZBrush. I hate it when it does that though. It gets you something of a start, but it doesn't get you anywhere near finished. It's one of those things, like really anything that you do, it's not going to get you 100% of the way there, but you can definitely get yourself pretty doggone close a lot of the time. Okay, starting to get somewhere. Okay, so what I want to start to do, Steven thinks he's muy chistoso. Sí, compadre. No, that's kind of the joke, that Andersons think that they're funny. Andersons think that yeah, and we're very funny. I mean, we should know we're always laughing at our own jokes. Sorry, stupid joke, but puts the point across, right? Let's get that smooth down. Okay, I want to make a polygroup. Actually, let's just do this. Let's do mask, edge loop partial. Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and make polygroups. It's just gonna be easier. Let's do something like that. Now what I want to do, something like that could be good. Now I'm going to come down here, polygroups, auto groups. That'll give me a little bit more of what I want. Now if I want to, I could also, you know, make these two the ones that are visible, Control W, so that those two are what is linked together. And to me, that is actually really, really handy and really, really, you know, just useful. Okay. This way, I can play with my masking a little bit more easily. Okay, so now,
here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do, guys.
okay. Okay. This is where it's going to get a little bit trickier because I want to make sure that it stays nice and symmetrical. But again, there's that problem that I was telling you about with the symmetry. So maybe here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and we'll take this. This. We'll just take it up a little bit. Oh, so one of the things that I discovered that I wanted to share with you guys. So I am a huge advocate for changing your document size when you want to render something or when you want to export your document and get a good image out to be able to share and show or whatever, put in your Instagram. Or in my case, to be able to send to Pixelogic for the advertising and stuff. So what I like to do is I like to come up to document and I like to change my document size, and I had it at 5,000 pixels wide by 5,000 tall, and that made it so that ZBrush was chugging along really. I went through, and I think it might have been last week. I made changes so that my document was smaller, and that made all sorts of things possible for me. you know what, I'm just gonna need to get rid of that. Let's do this. We're gonna need to boost our focal shift. Okay. Anybody from Australia out there? Or anybody out there have Netflix? There's just a little comedy show that I really like to listen to while I'm working, called Little Lunch. It's awesome. Okay, now the reason I'm starting with the mouth is because the mouth the mouth pose is going to affect everything else. Everything else. Bella's here! So is the dragon supposed to sit on him or kill him? He's not supposed to sit on him or kill him. It's supposed to be like a really playful scene, and it will be at some point. I was thinking originally about having it be like a really kind of dangerous scene, if you will. But then I don't know, it just kind of stuck out to me that if it's going to be Candyland, why not just make it fun? Just make it something that my kids would be super into, or you know, whatever. Just make it something fun, you know. And so far it's been just an absolute riot. It's been great. And it's been a really fun journey to take with everybody here, so I really appreciate everybody just, you know, coming out, having fun. It's time for a little lunch. Steven, I have a file that includes some fiber mesh. When I put that in the keyshot for rendering, it freezes. The only way I have ever to be able to fix that is restarting the PC. What should I do? Fiber mesh is not something that I play around with a whole lot. I've tried playing around with it, but it gets really heavy for the computer to deal with. I don't know what kind of computer, what kind of specs you're running on. I tend to run on a laptop. That's the only time I ever use Keyshot is on my laptop. I don't have a desktop at home, and the only time I use a desktop is at work. So Keyshot is one of those that I use if I want to do like nice production or presentation renders, and I've never taken fiber mesh into it. However, somebody who could be a good person to get in contact with is Pablo Munoz. He's a really good, he's just good at everything. He's a stud, just super good. He's another one of the streamers, and if I'm not mistaken, right now he's streaming on either Mondays or Tuesdays. I don't recall off the top of my head. Every once in a while I get to tune into his streams, but really it's like whenever I can catch whoever on the streams. But yeah, Pablo Munoz, he does a lot of stuff with fiber mesh, and he does a lot of experimentation. So Mohammed, that's a really good, he'll be a good resource for you to reach out to. Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Yep, ZBrush guides. Thank you very much, Night Shadow. Yeah, I totally agree. Great stuff. Everything from, you know, how to deal with materials to how to do really cool stylized renders. His documents on doing stylized renders inside of ZBrush blows my mind. Just the amount of control that you have inside of ZBrush, and just things that I had no idea about until Pablo said something, you know. Not that, you know, Pablo's the only one responsible for the discovery and development of ZBrush, but he's a very frequent a frequent beta tester. So he's a good resource. Okay. And it's like I'm not super focused on going fast. I have a lot that I want to get to today. Like I want to try to get the whole character posed, and I also want to pose the dragon. However, that is a lot to do in one session, so we'll have to see how it goes. However, I also hope to be able to get started on his little fish kite. I think I was like the only one to vote for the fish kite for today's session on my Instagram. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm over it already, guys. I'm over it. Okay. So the nice thing about using polygroups, we've already talked about being able to use them for selection and things like that. But one of the other really great things is that it helps us to define a clear form and form changes. Like right here, this is kind of a pain, but just come in here and just kind of play with that until it's about right. Again, this is something that I learned from my mentor, Zach Petrock. The dude's awesome. Okay. There's a lot of like back and forth when I'm masking, because I want to make sure that whatever it is that I'm working on, that my brush is affecting, I want to make sure that that is supporting the shape and the art direction that I'm giving myself as much as possible. Okay, so we're starting to get somewhere. Right now, it's way too cornered in the mouth, and I can already tell that these teeth, they're just not working for me. So posing the characters, that's something that I'll be doing today. So so yeah, I mean, if you hang tight, you'll get to see some of that. But yeah, I'm already able to tell that these teeth, that's just not what I'm gonna want. That's not what I'm gonna want. It's not what I thought it was going to look like, what I hoped it was going to look like, and now it just looks dumb. Right? So here's what we're gonna do. We're going to I'm gonna leave them there for now. Actually, let's just make sure that these are wide enough, and they'll just serve as like a stand-in for now. Yeah, definitely not the way that I want it to look. I'll have to grab teeth from a different model. I'm trying to think of which one I have some for. Teeth are a pain to they're a pain to model, especially when you're wanting to art direct them and make it feel good. Control 8. There we go. Okay. Oh, hold on there, Sparky. There we go. That'll be better. Okay, let's use a little bit of inflate here. Just trying to like play with getting him to feel right. How did you switch quickly by subtool? Oh, so to be able to do that, you can hit N, and N will pull up your subtool list. This is just default. I don't do anything fancy with my UI. Pretty literally. Or you can hold Alt and you can click on a subtool. You know, so I can get over to his eye, or come on, get to his teeth, get to his hair. Okay, get to his eyebrow, but just by holding Alt and clicking on the subtool. So that's a helpful way to go. I do that probably more often than anything else, but you know. Okay, let's get this grin to be like super wide. And I have to kind of monitor myself too, because I don't want it to be so wide that it's just like, oh, that's just looking ridiculous. And okay, let me see. No, this is what I want. I want this. And then I want this, 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 and then I want. So tell me what you want, what you really want. Sometimes it helps to kind of invert your mask and then soften it the opposite direction. I do that a lot. Just going to use my smooth to kind of soften that out a little bit. It's getting too extreme up here. Too much of an overhang, too much of an insert. So what I'm trying to do is kind of pull it out some so that it's not as strong, because it doesn't need to be. Not for this character, not really ever, really, generally speaking, you know, ever. There's a lot of experimentation when you're doing a character pose and when you're doing facial expressions. Because one of the things that'll happen is you'll get it going one way, and then you'll decide, let's get it back the other way, or let's push it a little further, or Or egg. I need a taco. Just kidding, I don't need a taco right now. I'm actually really quite stuffed from supper. Whatever. N as in Nancy. G-Ben. Good to catch up, looks good, thank you. How did I put the 2D artwork there? So the 2D artwork is a spotlight. It's using a feature inside of ZBrush called Spotlight. It is a phenomenal feature. If you ever watch Shane Olson's streams, he's the one that taught me how to do that, and it has been so tremendously helpful. So the way that you get the spotlight on there, you have to start out by coming up to texture, hitting import. You find an image that you want to import. Okay. In that instance, I had my character drawing. Now, you'll notice that, like in my drawing, the background is, it looks like it's got a transparency around it. That's because anything inside of ZBrush that is black is counted as being like fully transparent. So when I create that image, I go ahead and I use the black backdrop, so I can click on that, hit open, go back to texture because it doesn't like to stay open, and I can click on that, and then I can hit plus and add it to Spotlight. So an insanely helpful tool. It'll then pop up, and then the other important thing to do is to go up to Brush, down to Samples, and turn off Spotlight Projection. Otherwise, you'll get really frustrated with not being able to, like, your brush will only affect areas on your mesh, with most brushes, that are underneath the spotlight, and it'll only affect it, in a gradient sort of way. So that's the main thing, and that might be the problem that you're having there, Mohammed. Actually, if you're using it and your brushes go unusable, that might be the problem.
Get in the chopper.
Yeah, so really helpful. Yeah, you're right, Night Shadow. So M is for the insert mesh brushes, and N is for subtools. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Let me see. Round that out a little bit. Trying to make sure that I get this shape the way that I want it. This looks like it's going down way too low, so I need to pick this up some. The flow to the inside of the mouth in these poses, if you're just using it as something for printing, then it doesn't matter a whole lot. But if it's something that you're using as like a portfolio piece, or something that, to really concept something out, really make it look nice, then yeah, it's important to go through and make sure that the inside of the mouth right in there is good. One way that you can do that, I hit solo, so he looks kind of creepy for a moment. Bear with me. We're going to say flip. Switch to the highest, hit flip. Okay, so now we can see what's going on in here, and we can say, alright, oh. Let's let's just start to move the mouth bag around a little bit. I don't know if everybody calls this a mouth bag. This is what we called it when I was at Warner Brothers. So I kind of just adopted it rather. It's kind of a dumb term, but it makes sense. So they also called the eye sockets the eye bags. Just call them eye sockets. Alright. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Yeah, to be able to do this inside of Maya, it's a nightmare. Alright, let's flip it again. Ah. Gotta flip it. Flip it good. Let's do this. And then I want to go like this. Let's unmask. And then Control A, and then we're gonna go like Sometimes I feel like I'm just spinning tires. That was way too little of my mesh masked. I don't want these visible. I got a brain fart. That's what it was. A brain fart. All that's masked so I don't kill it accidentally. The hard thing with this is that the you can still kind of see it, you know. So it wasn't the inside of that crease, that very corner. That inside of that corner was not defining the inside of that crease, the edge of that poly group. So I'm just going through and kind of tweaking it. Yes, I am using a Wacom Tablet. It's definitely the way to go when you're working in digital media. I have tried other ones. I can't remember the brand off the top of my head, but I have tried other ones that a lot of people seem to like. I didn't particularly care for them. I don't feel like they had the same responsiveness or the same reliability as the Wacom tablets. So yeah, that's my spiel about Wacom. They're good. I like them. They're worth the investment. They are worth the investment. Oh no, Bella. My instructors still call it that, so I'm assuming it's still a thing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit lost. That happens sometimes though. It's always so funny whenever Ashley's streaming or Anna's streaming or Shane's streaming, or you know, and I get to, whenever I get to watch them, they'll be going through, they'll be talking about something, and then I'll respond, and it'll make sense to me because I heard the context and I was responding to something in particular, and then they get to the chat like a half hour later, and they're like, Steven, you sound dumb, because I don't get what you said. So that happens. It happens. Oh, about the mouth bag thing. Yeah, okay. Do you think the industry is eventually going to switch to doing real-time media instead of rendered stuff? Real-time media instead of rendered stuff. Are you talking about like interactive real-time media, that type of thing? So like a choose-your-own-ending type of thing? Or are you talking about like oh, and I'm talking to yeah, I guess it's Bella. Is that what you're talking about? Interactive media? Because I know that a lot of places are trying to go that direction. They seem to feel like it's more worthwhile to consumers. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. In my view, I feel like a lot of people go to the movies because they enjoy the escapism of it. They enjoy being able to kind of release being in their own world for 2 or 3 hours, however long. The really tricky thing it's just really tricky. Really tricky, because there are a lot of instances where interactive media or real-time sort of stuff is really proper and appropriate, like flight simulations for training pilots, or they're even starting to use it for things like medical training, which is really bizarre to me, but hey, whatever, right? Okay, so we want to make sure that the edge of that eye bag stays in pretty much the same place. Okay. I don't want it to venture too much. So let me see. Oh, let me see. Oh, actually, it's funny, Lileen. I was about to ask if anybody had gotten to, if anybody was excited about the Avengers. Yeah, I'm curious to see where films will go in the future, because I do feel like they will probably start to get more immersive by using technologies such as virtual reality, possibly starting with like augmented reality rather than than a whole-on virtual reality experience. I mean, I could just see like a sci-fi theater of the future where it's like where everybody's got like these headsets on that kind of cover their eyes, and they have like all these wires kind of coming out, and like this cyberpunk sort of genre or whatever, and you see like these glowing white lights on top, and you can see red when it's starting to go into distress and things like that. Aldo, yep. I don't think this is the chat he's paying attention to. Yeah, so it's interesting with YouTube. There's a huge delay between what's online and like when I get it and everything. So yeah, I always recommend people going over to Twitch. Twitch is the one that's most interactive. It's the most up to date. So. Sorry. Hopefully you don't feel like I'm ignoring you, and hopefully I am getting all your comments and whatnot. Because I mean, it literally all comes to the same. It all comes to the same little window. I'll show you. I'll just show you. So yeah, this is what I see over here on my second screen. So I've got here's YouTube, Twitch. If a comment comes in from Facebook, we get that through there as well. This app is called Restream. It's really, really good. It allows us to stream to 3 platforms at the same time. So I get it to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Yeah, and you can get it to more than that as well. But those are the ones that Pixelogic does it to. It's really, really helpful. So yeah, a lot of fun. This is kind of my setup right here. And for those of you who are asking, yeah, I do use the Wacom Tablet. Okay, I use the medium size. I used to use the small size, but then they kind of got rid of the small size, sort of. So I just started going with the medium, and it works just fine for me. I don't like the really big ones because I don't like having to like move my arm like way big like that to make a small move. Oh yeah, and I have gummy bears. What? Yeah, you gotta have some. Oh, and a friend. Sculpt that I did a while ago based off of what's his name? Oh my goodness, Martin Abel. Down in Australia. So yeah, good guy, great piece, and it was really fun to sculpt. Speaking of gummy bears, lots of fun. 40x thing that they did with Hellboy. Not something that I've heard of. Now here's where it starts to get fun, okay? As if the rest hasn't been fun. Starting to look like Robin Williams. Chair shakes around, you get sprayed with water. Ah, okay. I get it. I get it. Hey, Leanne. How you doing? Gummy bears. I'm just chewing on gummy bears. That's all. I'm just here for you guys to stare at, and I'm just here for the gummy bears. I might get to a point where I decide that that there's too much overhang. Like I decide maybe the cheeks are just too strong. We'll have to keep playing with it, keep exploring, keep trying it out, keep pushing it. It's always interesting to me going and looking at different sides. It helps me to better establish whether or not forms are working. I feel like a lot of times our brains are kind of, I guess, programmed to if we look at something too long from one side or from one angle, we can kind of begin to think that that's just right, you know? And so it's kind of a tricky thing that you really want to make sure that you're looking at things from different sides. It's funny, Thomas is a tough guy to please. So you know that if you do something and he says it looks really good, he's not just being nice. He's a very honest type guy, and sometimes he'll go through. I mean, he's been teaching for years. So sometimes he'll go through and he'll tell you something looks nice. And then he'll tell you, but you could improve it if you were to do this, 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 and this, which is great. I think that that's definitely like the sign of a good instructor, that they know that they can lift somebody up, and then they can give constructive feedback. I've had teachers before where they're like, or I've known teachers before too, where they go through and they're like, "It sucks, do it again." It sucks, do it again. And then they don't take that opportunity to give constructive feedback, and it's like they don't even say, you know, well, you should have watched out for proportions, or you should have watched out for your contrast or your composition. You know, your silhouette is weak, your, you know, whatever. Sorry, Bella. Yes, so the idea is to go through and pose him all out today. I might have to replace the teeth another time. Because there's a lot to kind of figure out with the teeth. Making sure that they really kind of support my vision for this character. But yes, the idea is to go through and to get him fully posed. Okay, let's jump over here. Again, I hit N to be able to open that up. Let's get facial hair. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so here's what we have. We have these, you know, essentially like these three sort of chunks. And right now it looks like he's got hay stuck in his teeth. Turn on my gizmo. We're just gonna turn that up. Turn it up. Finally got my 3D printer sent off to get repaired. Discovered that there were all sorts of terrible things wrong with it. Things that I wasn't going to be able to fix on my own. Things that I tried to fix. Well, not necessarily things that I tried to fix. It should have worked well, and somehow it just stopped working. I think he liked the movie, not the... Okay, so the movie was the good part, but he didn't like the motion and the effect part of it. Okay. Yeah, that'd be interesting. They do things like that at theme parks sometimes, too. Which, that's always interesting. Okay. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now, I need to get my mask gloss, so it's kind of bugging me that I don't have that selected right yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to start by rotating the bottom eyelid up just a little bit. Hey, gorgeous. Guess who's here? You'll never know. What am I eating? Gummy bears? Of course. It's gotta be some sort of candy for streaming time. Okay. Okay, it doesn't got to, but it just makes the whole time that much sweeter, right? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and use my trick that I use in Maya to be able to close eyes, or to be able to change eyelids. This is not something that again, it's not gonna get you exactly where you want to be, right away. But it's gonna get you pretty close. So what I want to do is turn on transparent. Let's turn on that. I want to go to the center of the eye, more or less, and then I'm just going to kind of rotate it up. It doesn't look like it's working quite from there. Let's try it a little bit closer. And actually, let's angle it so that it's the same as the line there. Let's try this and see if it'll give me more what I want. Okay, just kind of move it, tweak it, rotate it. We'll get this figured out. Okay, so I really want these eyes to feel super playful. So that's why I've gone through and I've made I'm gonna make them really super. Oh, pardon me, I've got like heartburn right now. Your question got buried. Okay, Aldo, I've got your question. I'm going to come back and I'm going to let's ask that. Let's answer that. I know that I like to ask, what tip would you give to an aspiring 3D artist like me to get a good job in a AAA company? Definitely just figure out. I'm trying to remember what the guy's last name is. His first name's Trent. He's worked at a lot of video game companies. He worked at Blizzard and Riot and all sorts of other game companies. The thing that he recommends, and I would recommend the same, is that if you want to get into games, I would recommend understanding the style of the studio that you want to work at, and then catering your portfolio to that studio. A lot of the studios are similar enough that you could get away with doing, you know, say for instance you want to work at you want to work at Blizzard, and you have a bunch of work that looks like work from Riot. That sort of thing is probably good enough, but you want to make sure that your portfolio reflects the kind of work that you want to do. So, you know, for instance, I like doing a lot of character work, and you know, I don't get a lot of opportunities for character work, but I do it for me. I do it so that I can you know, keep practicing and doing what I like to do, so that when the opportunity comes, I'm ready. It's not like it's one of those things where I get an opportunity and I'm totally not ready for it because I haven't kept practicing. You know, it's not like I've made a portfolio and then it's like, okay, I can take a break now. It's like, if you get your portfolio and it's in order, you got to keep working on yourself. You got to keep polishing. So that's kind of a big thing about if you want to get into AAA games. Keep working on polishing yourself, your skills, your skill set, software you know, skills that you have, just things, you just always improving, always growing, always learning. People love to see that you're still growing and still learning and still pushing yourself. So yeah, figure out your audience, target it. That's probably the biggest one though. let's do it like this. And again, like I said, you know, if you're if you're on YouTube, I do recommend going to Twitch because it's faster and it's more live and more updated. So so yeah, that's always been my favorite platform to go and watch on. And when I stream on my own, it's my favorite to stream too as well. I also stream to YouTube and maybe a couple of others. I don't remember which ones off the top of my head, but Twitch is my favorite because it's the most up to date. It's the most live. So let's keep going. Let's check up on chat. I'm so sorry, Aldo. I just it's just that it's just really tough with the lag and how all that happens. So thanks for your patience and for for being so kind about it. It gets frustrating, I'm sure. I'm not trying to ignore you. Those are good questions and they're good comments and good conversation points. The other thing that you could do is if you're wanting to get into AAA games, network with people that are in AAA games. Find people that do the work that you want to be doing. Emulate their work. Figure out what it is that they're doing. Ask for feedback on what it is that you've done. I think that's been one of my biggest helps in all of my years of learning, is the people that have been there to support me, and the people that have given me feedback, and the people that have critiqued my portfolio, or the people that have, you know, things like that. Those sorts of things are going to really, well, one, it connects you with people directly in the industry, which is huge. Okay. And then the other thing is that it's kind of a mentoring type of situation where you're able to go ahead and get insight to what professional work looks like, or professional collaboration looks like. You get a better sense for the industry standards, terminology, all sorts of things. Now the cool thing about Mexico, sorry, I'm not skipping you, Leanne, I'll come back to you. The cool thing about Mexico, there aren't really any big studios, but I don't know if you're in. Are you in the capital? Are you in the Ciudad de Mexico and DF? Because I know that there are a lot of studios, like outsourcing studios, that we worked with when I was at Warner Brothers, and I know that there are a lot of studios like that, just outsourcing houses. And they do a lot of cool stuff. How do I know the term DF? El Distrito Federal. Yeah, no, I speak Spanish. I lived for 2 years as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Chile. So I mean, they don't have the same terminology in Chile that they would have in Mexico. But you know, I live in LA right now, so I get a lot of. I'm very familiar with a lot of. You know, I know people from Mexico, and that's one of the terms that I learned. I have a lot of friends down there. Oscar, he's another one of the streamers. He's from DF. He's from la Ciudad de México. Wait, no, oh wait, no, you're right. They changed it from DF back to being la Ciudad de México, right? Oh, I wish I could have visited Argentina. It was funny. So there was one point where I was living in a city called Santa Barbara. It's really close to Los Angeles de Chile, and it is like I could see the Cordillera. Like literally, it was like a spitting distance away. I could have just hopped on a bus and been in another country. I could have been over into Argentina maybe within an hour. It was really, really close. Pero chuta, no me tocó la oportunidad. No me tocó la suerte. Alright, let's do this. We're going to display properties, flip. Pucha la cosa. Pucha la cosa. Pucha caí. Are you from Argentina, Matias? La cordillera de los Andes, sí. Definitely something an Argentinian would say. Che pibe, ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué te crees, loco? ¿Qué te creí? ¿Qué te crees, vos? I love Argentinian Spanish. It's definitely some of the more enchanting Spanish to me. Chilean Spanish is kind of like English in the US. It's like mumbled and se traga la S. Yeah, it's great to see Spanish, how much Spanish there is in the ZBrush community. Hola, William. Estamos todos aquí hablando en español, así que si quieres puedes hablar en español también. Lo que quieres, lo que te pega la gana. A lot of Portuguese too. A little bit of Portuguese. There was somebody that was chiming in from Brazil. I don't know. It's funny because like my Spanish, it's I get a lot of opportunities to practice, and so that's a huge thing to me. My in-laws are from Nicaragua. So I get it's a huge benefit to me. I love Spanish. I think that the whole world should speak Spanish. It's so nice, so much nicer than any other language. My wife hates it when I say that because she doesn't like Spanish. My wife speaks 3 languages. She speaks English, French, and Spanish. Spanish is the language that she spoke in the home, and then like with her older siblings at school, she spoke and learned English. And then in high school, she learned French and was able to go ahead and serve a mission in Geneva, Switzerland, like I did in Chile for the church. And oh shoot, it's so funny. It looks like Robin Williams. It's just really kind of weird. Hey, there is nothing wrong with just speaking Portuguese. It looks like you're speaking English too. That's in Spanish. Aldo. That was funny. It was really funny. Oops. Actually, speaking Spanish is part of what got my in-laws to say it was okay for me to marry their daughter. My in-laws like me. Most of the time. Ahí estamos, yeah. Okay, so one of the things I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to kind of level out some of this in here so that I can have that's not quite come on, so that I can have nice clean transitions between the polygroups. Okay, what time is it? 9:24. Okay, we're gonna start posing the character in just a minute. The only thing I want to do, like the only thing I feel like I have left to do in the face, besides teeth, those teeth are terrible. It's definitely not working for what I want, but you know, we'll figure it out. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here. Mask out the bottom, and then we're just going to close the top eyelid. With this one, you'll notice I'm using a different technique than I did with the bottom eyelid. With the bottom eyelid, I had gone through and used my gizmo to rotate it. With this one, because I'm wanting it to change shape quite a bit, it had kind of like a little bit of a bend in it. I'm going through and I'm just using my move brush, and I'm going to make it so that it's just kind of better fitting the contour of the lid on the bottom. No manches, compadre, no manches. Okay, generally speaking, you want these to line up. This is going to get, like, there's going to be an eyelash piece, like a chunk eyelash going through here, so it doesn't matter as much. But we're still going to try to, like, modify this so that it just looks nice. Oops, let's use move topological. You guys got to kind of like bounce back and forth pretty fluidly. So this software is ZBrush. Okay. It's made by a company called Pixelogic, which is, they're the ones that own the channel that you are watching on. Okay. Yeah, I do know some of the Mexican slang. I don't know like dirty words, like phrases that would make your abuela throw her chancla at you, chancletazo. Tirar la oreja. But I know some of the street words, some of the funny slang and whatnot. A couple of my favorite Facebook groups or pages or whatever. It's like pero like and and me too. Okay. So right here, this is not making the right shape for what I want. So I'm just going to come in here. Oh, it's masked. Okay. I want this to have a much friendlier sort of curve to it. So I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of this sort of treatment. If I lift the eye a little bit, and then if I lift this curve some, it'll help it to feel much more like a happy happy expression. La chancla. Oh wait. Wait, who's going by? I didn't see anybody say. Oh. Bye, Leanne. I didn't catch that. Happy midnight. Happy tomorrow. Okay. So, on this guy, what's nice is that we're already starting to get like our topology flow going in the right direction for us. What I want to do now is that with the high resolution in there, I can come in. This is the last thing that I will be doing before we go in and pose the rest of him. Or you know what? Yeah. So right now I'm just going through and kind of pulling out the Oh, I wonder why that happened. Okay, that'll work. It's like none of my masking tricks are working for me right now. Okay, so now that I've got this guy up here, I can just kind of take it and just kind of move it in a little bit. Yes, I do definitely use ZBrush to do all my posing. I feel like it really kind of depends on what it is that you like to do. A good friend of mine goes through and uses whole rigs inside of, I think he does it in Maya or 3ds Max or something like that. You can look him up online too. His name is Carlos Ortega. Really, really good. He has a very, very distinct style, and I've been following his work for years. The dude's a genius. I love his stuff. I love how imaginative he is, and how there we go. That's working for me. You know what? And maybe we'll just leave it as one crease. I feel like that'll help it to feel a bit more streamlined and stylized. Okay, cool. That's funny. Alright. Facial hair. Which one is it? Be this one because it's posed. Now I'm trying to decide, because it feels like it might, the mouthpiece might actually work, but we'll have to see. We'll see. We'll have to see. It's kind of working. Yeah, very, very Disney-esque. Yeah, very Disney-like. Very, very good artist. Hey, howdy, hey, Christopher, how you doing? Oh, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Or was it? No, actually, that is what I wanted to do, because this is the characters file. Okay. So, I had a bit of a scare there for a second. I have several files open right now. I have this Candyland file open, which has the has the character and the environment. So, and then I have this one that's just the character, and this one that's the character with his just in his standard T-pose. Okay, and that's what I used to be able to scale my character down. Yeah, I feel much better with this guy now. I didn't want I didn't want him to be posed per se, so we're just going to go ahead, we're going to go step it up to our 4, since that was kind of a, that was just a pain, never mind, whatever. Alright, so here's what I want to do. Let's close this down. I want to copy this subtool folder into the other file. Okay, so here's, let's turn on tree. Is that the right tree? It might not be the right tree. We'll have to see. Character blocking, the grass, the arms, zigzag teeth. I don't need those ones on. I don't need the zigzag teeth on. Do need gumdrops, dragon blocking, dragon head, mountain, any other dragon. Okay, so I want to bring my character in that has the face. Okay. Christopher, up all night when I should be in bed. We should all be in bed. Bed's a good place to be. Okay, so I want to bring my character with the posed face into, yeah, see, he looks so happy. He looks so happy. Look at him, guys. I want to take him and put him in my scene so that I can start to pose him. Okay, so let's tweak that a little bit. Smooth it out some. Yeah, it'll work. And then I'll decide in a few minutes that it still doesn't quite work right for me. Anyway, so what we're going to do, Z plugin, we're going to go to Subtool Master. And then we're going to say copy folder. Copy folder, here at the very bottom. Okay, same thing. Wow, my voice is going. Paste folder. Okay, looks like it's almost done. Yeah, this is personal work. Sleep is for the weak. No, Diego, this is well, yes, this is personal work. This is personal work that I've done exclusively inside of the stream. So it's been fun. So pretty much absolutely everything that I've done in the project so far can be found on the Pixelogics streaming. Okay, so we got this character and we got that character. Cool. So with this character, this is where we're going to be able to go ahead and start to take him and move him into position. Oops, let's turn off symmetry because that is not cool. And this is where we're gonna start. Thank you, Diego. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. We're gonna start posing. Start posing and getting him in position. We'll probably add in a block in for his little fish kite because that'll help as I'm working out the pose. In the very least, especially that composition. So the fish kite, I mean, I still don't know exactly what it'll look like. It might look like that. It might look a little different. We'll have to see. But yeah, we'll have to see. So, but the thing that'll be important to have is some sort of pole for him to, to pose with. His clothing is not finished yet, but I figure I'd go through and finish it and pose. So let me see if I can find my sketch. I don't remember where I sketched it out. I think so there's that one that you have on the screen already. I'm pretty sure that I had one where I had drawn him bouncing off of the face of the dragon. Maybe not. She wouldn't be in there, wouldn't be in there. Easter egg? Huh. It's funny because I always put things in the same place just so that... Oh, here we go. Just so that I always know where they are. Okay, let me see if I can find that. It's not really quite the idea that I want. We'll figure it out though. Let's just figure it out. So here's what we're gonna do. So right now, I want to start off by posing the torso, and I'll start by posing the torso from the foot. So let's see, not those legs, the other legs. Okay. Do that. Just to make sure that I don't have that selected. Is there a way to turn off symmetry on every on everything? Okay, so what I want to do, let's go to the chanclas, let's go to the sandals there. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, mejor. Isn't that just a pain when it goes through and does the quick save, and it's like you really got to kind of think for a second. It's like, wait, what's going on? Especially if you feel like you're kind of in a groove, like you have a really good idea of where you want your... Oh, here we go. I want to invert that actually. Oh no, measles outbreak has reached LA. I am going to mute that though. Measles. That's no fun. Like, honestly, very much not fun. I am not a fan. Sandals. Okay. Okay. Liberal arts, huh? Let me see. I'm gonna take this. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go through and figure out more or less what I could do with this pose. Nice Japanese chancla. Yep. Attend the Lightbox Expo in September. I want to. September's still really in the air for me. But yes, I very much want to. I feel like it'd be a good opportunity, just to be able to go and see people. Let's see. But yeah, I'm not sure. It's still kind of in the air for me. We'll have to see how things are in September. Okay, let's get that chancla unmasked. Go back to those legs. Let's turn it back like this, maybe. Yeah, the ZBrush Summit is awesome. The ZBrush Summit is much more specialized to ZBrush users, and I mean, I've enjoyed it both years that I've gone. I've enjoyed watching all of the Summit presentations. Online and in person, the camaraderie there, it's awesome. Lightbox Expo will be awesome as well. However, it won't be as specialized. You'll get a much more of a broad spectrum of artists. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of just different, but it's but that'll be cool too. Control Shift Alt, deselect those. How far up does the torso go? Torso goes into there, so we need to make sure that we mask it. Okay, so this is where I'm going to go through and start getting some twist and some pose to the actual character. Let me see, the Summit this year. Let me see. It'd be the last weekend in September. Do you? Okay, so it'll be the 27th through the 29th of September. As that draws closer, I will probably have an announcement in my streams along the bottom to show, you know, ZBrush Summit 2019, September 27th through the 29th, you know. Okay, let's go back to that torso. Come on, where is it? I don't know, it seems like there's a trick to be able to recenter your gizmo without having to actually see it. However, I don't remember what it is. Okay. So far that's working out alright. Let's see. Not that shirt. In fact, I could probably go ahead and get rid of this other character folder. Okay, so it'd be this one. Say delete folder. Oh! That's the tricky part. Delete. Always okay. Delete, 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 delete. Delete, delete. Delete. Delete, delete, delete. Okay. Control S. Since we're here. Oh, looks like you'll be able to go then. That'd be cool. Yeah, it's a really fun opportunity. Yeah, so holding Alt when you're using the gizmo, it'll kind of attach it to whatever point you click it to. But I know that there's a trick to making it so that you can go ahead and you can kind of recenter it to your stuff without having to get frustrated. I think that's turned a bit too much in that way. Okay, that's working. That's working for me. I mean, obviously, I'm getting problems with the funny penetration there. But it's an easy fix. It's like, eat me. Okay, so now what I want to do is we're just going to keep moving up. whenever I pose, I go in kind of stages. So his torso isn't fully posed. When your back is in, like when you're in this really Titanic vibes, when you're in this really dynamic pose, your back gets a lot of arch to it, you know, and in order to make it feel like he's got a lot of energy, like he's really like booking it, and like he's really playful and bouncing and just having a good time running away from these dragons or whatever. Oh, the other thing is it could be some sort of relic. Maybe the dragons are chasing after him because he's got a relic. I don't know. Flying Jack. More like Flying Rose, but with a mustache. Let's get this torso. You know what? Let's go like that. Okay, we're going to take that. Okay. So this is starting to work out for me the way that I want. So let's come over here to the jacket. The jacket. It's not a jacket. Okay. So this arm, I'm going to want to make it so that arm is like kind of coming across and like really feeling like he's like propelling himself forward. And I'm also going to bring his right leg up so that it's really like kind of pulling himself into a run. What do you recommend more, T pose versus A pose? It depends. At Warner Brothers, they explained it as like you know, they'll do things in a T pose because that's easier for the riggers, and because it's a game studio, we don't have to worry about a ton of cloth simulation and things like that quite as much. At least not as much with the arms. I take that back. I guess we kind of did, but anyway, so. Hey Fami, how you doing? So in you know, for that application, T-pose was the best because it simplified things for rigging and it made things a lot quicker for rigging. I hate T-pose. I think it looks a lot less dynamic. I prefer A pose because it looks more dynamic and more natural, and so for instance at Disney feature animation, they do things in the A pose because it gets the clothing simulations to settle more naturally, and so after the clothing settles, they're able to go ahead and move it into whatever pose it needs to be in, and it's able to react in an appropriate way. Kind of a fun little tidbit. That's a good question. How are things in Tunisia? Still blazing hot, I suspect. Okay, let's do this arm. So here's what we're gonna do. He kind of almost looks like Robin Williams. Okay, so let's go over to those arm wraps. Turn off symmetry, mask half. See, I don't need these, but I do need this, and I do need this. Okay. This is making some weird shapes in here. We definitely want the shoulder feel like it's flexing. Same with the bicep in this sort of pose. How you doing? My wife doesn't like being on camera. So it's beginning of the day in Tunisia, and it's getting pretty hot. Aldo from Mexico is saying that he's the only one commenting on YouTube, and it feels weird. There was somebody else commenting on YouTube, but actually like a few people, but they might have ducked out recently.
So I just read that the measles outbreak has reached Los Angeles.
Yeah, so you said at the airport was
Apparently.
kind of like the main point of entry for that, right?
Well, there were several. I don't know if that was the point of entry, but I'm all freaked out.
Because we're going there this Saturday.
Yeah, I'm like, I have to put myself in a gigantic plastic bag. Nobody touch me.
Ma'am, could you please take that off of you for going through security? I can't. I can't. Okay. Is it on KTLA or?
No, it's on the hidden LA page.
If it's on hidden LA, maybe KTLA doesn't know about it yet.
Okay, so it was posted 3 hours ago. 5 cases of measles have been confirmed in LA County.
5 cases, huh?
Infected patients were exposed to measles at 5 sites throughout Southern California, including 2 restaurants in Glendale
Oy.
and La Cañada for Lethbridge.
Did they say which ones in Glendale?
Yes, they did. So,
Because I just had food from a restaurant in Glendale for supper at work.
I know, right? It's like too it's too close.
Guys, stop watching the stream in case I'm contagious. Just kidding. What about people who ate Glendale food?
I don't know. Well, that's the thing. It's like, well, if it's in one place, it's like, who knows how many people, you know.
Well, measles is one of those things. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's one of those things that had disappeared by the year 2000, according to the article. Then you have weird people who don't believe in
Vaccinating.
But this is probably like way too controversial a topic to be having while you're on a public forum. But I just read it. It's just fresh in my mind.
And apparently it's fresh in someone's soup, too. Okay, so his right arm, I'll probably have it like pulled back a little bit and like holding on to the, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out exactly what to do with, how to make that pull with the kite work. About which restaurants?
So it was someplace in Glendale called El Sal's Tacos on San Fernando Road on April 13th. People would have been exposed there from 1:30 p.m. to 4.
Good crap.
And the other one was a Fuego Loco restaurant on Verdugo in La Cañada.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
April 11 from 2 to 4:30. Cal State LA Library. UCLA.
Oh,
as well as
watch out, Bruins.
as well as the airport on April 1st, which I guess was the first an international traveler. So.
What a terrible day for something like that to happen. It's like April Fools, but not really. cartoony video clip Earth by Little Dicky with DiCaprio, Ariana Grande, and a lot of artists. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Is it like a music video for Ariana Grande or something? Or is it like an Earth Day music video thing? Or... Ah, you're fine. You're fine. Do you want headphones? Oh, you have some?
I have some left. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Everything's gonna be alright. The new We Are the World song. Measles. Well, it's like I wonder who has been affected so far. If they are people who have been vaccinated at some point, if they are people with certain blood conditions or trying to figure out which is more playful, having him looking kind of down, kind of like looking down at the dragon that you just stepped on. You just noticed that I don't have a custom UI. So the reason I don't have a custom UI, it's a good one, is because I do a lot of teaching and demos and things like that. And so, you know, for me to have, you know, even at work I still keep, you know, we call it the vanilla UI, right? The standard basic vanilla. I keep it all very, very simple, very standard, because if I needed to show somebody where something is, it's going to be the same on my screen as it is on your screen. Or if, you know, somebody at work needed to be able to to do something really quick on my computer. They don't have to go digging for where all the tools are. So I feel like in a lot of ways it just makes things easier. I know how to customize. I have done things to customize my UI in the past, but I feel like it's simpler and easier, less stressful if I just keep it standard. Do you customize your UI, and what are some of the things that you like to make more available? I know a lot of people that they'll go through and they'll favor different tools such as their Dynamesh settings and things like that, or they'll favor their booleans, just kind of depending on what the project is that they're working on. No, the model currently does not have UV maps. I don't know if I'll have, if I'll make UV maps or not. But yeah. Do I have my own Twitch channel? I do. If you look right over there, right along the bottom of the screen, where it says, pretty sure it says twitch.tv/smartest. SMAARTIST, and in fact I can go ahead and I'll send that in the chat. Let's see, twitch.tv/smartest. You could also find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, pretty much anywhere cool. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I do use a lot of hotkeys from the tablet, though. I don't use the side buttons. Thanks a lot, Avery. Thanks a lot. I do customize my hotkeys a little bit. So for instance, I really like to have Control S for saving a Z tool versus saving a project, because it's a lot nicer on my system. Okay, great. So this side's going to need to be tense. I like to have like loading a Z tool set to Control O. Some of those types of things that are very standard in other software, and they open to different tools or other options inside of ZBrush, and so I went ahead and I custom set some of those. But really, like more than anything, it's just save and open. I don't think I've really set any other ones that I can recall, unless there are specific ones that I set for brushes. So like if I load in a brush, say for instance my hairbrush, the brush that I use to be able to create hair curves, It's really a lot easier for me if that brush has the keyboard shortcut SM, because, you know, that's just, or SA, I guess is, yeah, SA is what I usually have it at, but I don't have it loaded in. I need to get it loaded in. Doggone it. But yeah, so having some of your brushes with custom hotkeys is really good. However, I like for it to make sense, you know. So I mean, it's not the type of thing where, like, if somebody needed to use my computer, they'd know instantly. It's like, oh, if I want to use Steven's hair curves brush, I could easily go in and say BSA and, you know, get that brush just selected instantly. You know, it's really easy. You know, some people will go through and they'll put their hotkeys to, like, you know, for clay buildup, maybe it's hotkey 1, or, you know, damn standard if it goes to 2, or, you know, other brushes and things like that. So but yeah, I more just make things that make sense. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't have MySpace. I think I had a MySpace maybe back in high school, like, how long ago was that? Like 13 years ago, 14 years ago. But yeah, I mean, I don't have it anymore. In fact, I can't even remember what email address I would have had back then to have been able to get into it. So hopefully nobody's, like, committing like user fraud or anything like that. Like somebody's hijacked my profile and they're posting cat pictures in my name, because I don't do that. So, cheese. Let's start getting into, where is this? There we go. It's nice to go through and kind of tweak the character's body first, and then to go through and tweak the shirt to match. I want to turn off the mountain. It's kind of driving me nuts. Turn off mountain. Turn off dragon. Turn off tree. Turn off everything. Okay. That'll work, because he's directly interacting with that dragon, so we'll leave that there. High Five was kind of that same era. I don't think I ever had one of those though. probably working well enough for my purposes on that. I do need to make sure that it's not penetrating his neck. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. And then let's go to the arm wraps. Invert. Nope. Oops. Turn on the pizza boxes. Okay. Ooh, yeah, I know what I want to do with this now. Okay, so let's undo this solo. Need to go into this. Okay. Definitely not going to get all the way through posing tonight. Yeah, so I'm using a tablet, not a Cintiq. I do have dual monitors though, so that's helpful. For LA Chance Art. Yeah, it's a fun song. It's a fun song. I don't think I would fanboy over Shawn Mendes though. I mean, it's... I don't know. I don't really feel like there are a ton of people in the world. I don't know. My wife could probably tell you more people that that I would probably get more excited about than I could, but yeah, there are some people at the ZBrush Summit that I get really excited about seeing. like this last year, I got to meet Tim Miller, and that was awesome. I got to meet him and talk with him, and we both got to like bond over being dads and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. How do I switch from one pivot point to another like that? There are a couple of things. So there's if I switch between different subtools, the different subtools are going to have their own pivot point. But if I have a single subtool visible, if I just hold Alt and click around, that'll let me change where my pivot point is. You'll notice that like if I hold Alt, that little lock, it's going to click open. So that means that I can go in here and I can rotate and kind of do things like that. I can move it around, and that'll let you change manually where your pivot point is. It's really, really helpful. It's been probably one of the best simple features that has been added in recent versions. Super enjoy it. Kind of smooth that out. It doesn't need to have a crease in there. See, this can kind of go up a little bit to kind of support the bridging across from the pec to the shoulder. But otherwise, it can stay pretty level. I do use Transpose Line a lot, but it depends on what it is that I'm doing. In fact, I probably use it more than most people now. I think even a lot of the legacy users have kind of ditched the Transpose Line for the gizmo. The hard thing about the gizmo is that it doesn't do or can't do, or at least I haven't figured out how to do it, many of the things that you would or could or used to do with the Transpose Line. So yeah, that's why I'm glad that they use and that they keep both, because the Transpose Line for me has a ton of different functionalities that you just don't have with the gizmo. One of those things being you can take measurements with your Transpose Line. You can manipulate your mesh in very non-uniform kind of ways. Is it not working?
It's like I hit the shifter, it doesn't icon, and either gives me a dash or it gives me
If you use the other shift, does it do it too?
yeah. I was doing more second around with this little keyboard. There's things I never know. It's really clear.
Do you want me to see about getting it fixed, or do you want to see about getting like a can of air and?
Probably let's try that first.
One of the nice things about having nice topology is being able to define creases that follow the direction of deformation. It's the same reason that having the topology for the dragons was so important, and will be so important when I go through and do this dragon. Okay, let's go ahead and let's do this leg. Now the nice thing is that I've got these pants at a really low resolution. It's also kind of one of the tricky things because it doesn't match the resolution of the legs that I'm working on posing right now. Like I can't even take the legs down a notch because I had to do a bunch of modeling to get the feet in there. Yeah. Really simple, but you know, it's effective. And the chanclas. Only need those for right now. I'll worry about adjusting this shirt and the belt to match here in a minute. But to me, it's so much more important to get the leg right first, because then I can go ahead, oh shoot. Because then I can go ahead and saving project file in progress. Have you tried hooking up the other keyboard to it?
Mm-hmm. Well, that one was being wonky too. I'm trying to hook that up. So, I don't know. Our appliances, these are appliances. Are they appliances? Or
Electronics.
Or electronics?
I wonder if they could apply as appliances. What's the qualification for?
In any case, we're outdated.
By about 10 years.
Mm-hmm. I mean, our things still have DVD drives.
Mm-hmm. A really nice benefit to having a computer that's 10 years old.
Well, I think so.
Bien pues. Chao Aldo. Que te vaya bien. Que sueñes con los angelitos. Okay. I'm gonna really have to play with his butt cheek right there because that's kind of fallen out. But starting to go somewhere that I am feeling good about. It's his butt and it needs to be implanted. Yes. Interesting. The pants are being affected too. So we're gonna do that.
Your phone is my favorite.
Because it says it's time for bed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I may very well be inclined to agree. Okay. This got real sloppy. Let's come over here. This will be kind of a simple way to be able to fix it. Just kind of use polish until it's not polished by that. Let's say relax. What's funny is when I post that first dragon, the first dragon went so much more quickly. I think it's because of all the layers that the actual character has. It's a little bit harder to pose him. more involved. Principles are still the same, it's just more involved with That's going to get changed as I go along, but yeah, whatever. Hey, Ro. How you doing? I'm doing pretty well. I'm getting ready to wrap up and tune out for the night. A ver. It's been a pretty fun stream though. We were able to get the character most of the way posed. I just need to hide his bum. Pardon me. Like when I went through and posed the leg, I had that section of his butt cheek unmasked, and so it just kind of came out. I know I don't have to like explain myself to you guys, but you know, it's just kind of funny. Insert. Okay, so now here's a time where I would go through and I would use my transpose line. Because I can very simply come in here and start to tweak it. Use a combination of move tool, move brush, rotate tool. That got a little bit pulled under. Hold on. Let's try this again. There we go. That's the problem. Have you heard anything more about Notre Dame? Well, did you hear about how much money it raised and things like that?
Am I missing something? Because
For renovation, for restorations and whatnot.
Cathedral.
Notre Dame.
Well, I'm sorry. I was like, wait, Notre Dame University? Like something special? No, I haven't.
No, honey, you're high school.
No, I haven't heard anything. But I mean, besides the fact that they have all the funds that they need, which is pretty incredible.
It was funny. It was like the architects at work. They're all talking about like, yeah, if they think they're going to get that done in 5 years, they got another thing coming. Yeah, apparently Disney went through and gave $600 million for restoration purposes.
Really?
Yeah. Which I thought was really quite generous.
I'll say. Well, that's cool.
And I don't know what because like I mean they have their Disneyland in Paris, right?
They do have a Disneyland there, but I mean it's a historic. I mean it's just such a big part of Paris. And, it's not Paris without that cathedral. So
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people were feeling pretty invested there. Restoring it. It's a beautiful building.
Yeah. I was actually really worried when I had heard that heard about the fires. I was like, well, maybe I'm just going to have to cross it off my bucket list.
Without having gone.
Without getting to actually go. It was cool though, because Stephen Colbert that I was listening to about it. Somebody was talking about it and how the really miraculous thing to him about it was that the huge rose window was completely intact.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. I don't think that they'll run into troubles with...
Finances for
No. They might run into other troubles, like, being able to keep the integrity of the building or whatever as they try to restore it, but
Right.
I don't think money will be the problem. I mean, hopefully it turns out to be one of those, beauty for ashes kind of moments where it becomes something way more spectacular than it was, but the hard thing is that it was such a historic place, and
Right.
I'm sure, well, I feel like there's a lot of sentimental attachment to those sorts of things in France, with monuments and their history, so...
I am hoping that that nobody's is like when they redid the Star Wars movies, or like when they remastered them, I guess. There were a lot of people who were really kind of bitter that they would ways that the movies were remastered, things that were taken out, things that were put in.
Yeah, but we just can't please everybody.
It's true.
So, I'm sure that there will be people who are not pleased with the results, but that's okay. That's scary. I just wonder how long that's going to take. It's going to take a really long time.
Supposedly, it's projected to take. You're talking about restorations, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's projected to take 5 years, and to me, it seems really lofty, like really aggressive. And the people that work kind of laugh at it, especially the really seasoned architects. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we don't really have a whole lot of really classical buildings here in the States.
I mean, the Tabernacle in Provo, Utah. I mean, that building was really old. I mean, it's not as old as, you know, Notre Dame or Notre Dame, but I mean, it was from like 18 something. I don't know. Can't remember.
Notre Dame?
No, the temple, the Tabernacle.
Because I was going to
Notre
say,
Dame is much older than that.
I was going to say, I think that's more like 1200s. I think it's like 800 years
So
old.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, like that building is it's a historic building, but it's, I mean, it's not nearly as old as that. So.
Well, and different materials too, and different
Yeah.
scale, and.
But I mean, you know, having seen the construction and how they like literally dug it out of the ground and put it on stilts and tried to keep, you know, as much of it as they could true to what it was. It'd just be interesting to see how they. Well, it'd be interesting to see if they do something similar with the building, and if they do, what they'll discover around it as they, you know.
Dig out.
Yeah.
You talking about like catacombs and things like that, or?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you know, you just think about cities that are that old, how sometimes they just built things on top of other things. You just never know what could be kind of lying beneath there, you know, that we would have never discovered had it not
been for the burning in the first
down,
place.
Yeah. It's like when I served in Geneva, I can't remember. It's so sad that I can't even remember what that church was called, but it's in that Place de Moulard area or whatever. It's like the historic old town there.
Okay.
And
Old Town Geneva.
Geneva, and they have this museum exhibit, I guess, underneath the church.
Okay.
And so, I mean, you know, underneath the building is basically everything that existed before it. There's like the world's oldest baptismal font and
Interesting.
really
So that's where that's at?
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that was like super cool. So I mean, you know, I don't know what they could possibly discover in a place like that if they had something like that in Geneva.
Well, it's like when they were digging for King Richard III in Inglaterra. They found him without his feet because whatever they had built right there, where his feet used to be, where he used to stand, it essentially in digging they dug right through him and had no idea who he was, and or you know they didn't realize it, you know, so it was just kind of a I don't know, so it was just kind of an interesting thing. So yeah, they might find some interesting things.
So from that standpoint, I think thinking about things like that is kind of exciting. But still sad though, because it's sad to see something like that.
Right.
I've been up there. It's really amazing.
That's one of my favorite things to do with the transpose line. It's really like bend and warp my mesh. Okay. I think this is gonna be where I leave it for tonight, guys. My wife's like, yeah. Bedtime. How close did I make it to midnight tonight?
Please, let's not make that ugly.
Bad I wasn't able to go through. It's getting somewhere. It's going somewhere good. What'd you find?
This quote says, boundaries are important. Early in a relationship, early in any relationship, be kind, but firm about unacceptable behavior. You cry, I cry. You laugh, I laugh. You're happy, I'm happy. You jump off a cliff, I'm gonna miss you. Boundaries. That's a good one. I like that.
I think I've heard something similar to that before, but
That's just funny.
thanks, Ro. Yeah, it's coming along fun. I'm really excited about where it's going, and I think that with some development, it'll continue to be all right. It'll get better. It'll keep. Like the idea is to keep finding ways to make the story stronger and things like that. Let's kind of pull that out a little bit. Really make it feel like it's got some compression there. Because it feels like, let me see. Yeah, I feel like I would get some compression there. Let's take this. Oh. What's kind of crazy?
Oh, this story don't have to be that way.
You have to share it with me in a minute. Alright. I was definitely much more in focus mode today than than typical. That's okay. Alright. We're gonna call that good enough for right now. Okay. Now let's just turn on. Oh, let's hit save before I turn everything on, and then we'll go ahead and. Could you do me a favor? Could you like take a picture of me while I'm streaming?
I should charge you.
You should. Premium price.
I'll give you the family discount. Okay, I hate my phone. Where is your camera? Okay. You really need to get a curtain. I mean, do you want to look over here, or do you want to just be casually looking at the computer?
Well, I want just a couple of shots. One where I'm kind of, working. Oh no. Okay. Well, if you can see me, thanks for coming. If you can't see me, thanks for coming. Yeah. Hopefully I'll get to see you next week. This is turning out pretty great, and I'm really excited with how it's going. But I think I'm having internet problems right now. The streaming is kind of being a little funny, it looks like. So, yeah. Anyway, take care, go hug your loved ones, and get some good sleep. I'm about to do the same. So, yeah. Make sure you go tune in to the other streamers happening tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, etc., right? Anyway, take care. Have a good day.